Welcome everyone to the PYRESWAP show. And what a great color scheme. See? I picked these two colors. And you guys can see me and hear me, right? Everybody? Am I audible? Invisible? Fantastic. And this is the perfect color scheme. On camera, it looks even better. With this blazer and everything. And this weird ghost that's all blurry. This is perfect. Yeah, this should never be changed. I should wear this outfit every single day. How's everyone doing? How's everyone doing? You guys doing good? I'm doing phenomenal. And one of the main reasons I'm doing so phenomenal is that I am no longer bottlenecking the PYRESWAP Ambassador program, you guys. How amazing is that? Yeah, I am no longer the bottleneck. Isn't that great? So legitimately, the PYRESWAP Ambassador program is now underway and training has commenced. Oh, and you can pull the labels off if you switch like the labels. I'm also fine with it just being right here across me the whole time. I think this banner.
I got you.
Yeah, okay. By the way, guys, today we have a guest producer, and we are in fact there we go, perfect. And we're all the production here is expanding. It's just growing and expanding. And anyways, perfect, phenomenal. So today's Market Monday, and I figured I would just rattle off the stuff that you guys care about first, which is probably updates, right? So let's do. Oh yeah, 3D glasses. Yeah, do you guys like the shirt? Do you guys like it? Are you guys wearing 3D glasses? We should make this show require 3D glasses. Okay. Anyways, so we have a guest producer. The Twitter Ambassador program is finally not bottlenecked around me. LearnPyreswap.com is now in progress, and I can talk about that in a minute. I also got the Pyre.info and the Pyre.finance domains purchased. Bitcoin touched $105,000. Did you guys see that? $105,000. Very exciting stuff. The market today is in a state of extreme greed, as marked by both Alternative.me and CoinMarketCap. Extreme greed. There is a Jerome Powell press conference on Wednesday. Are you guys aware of this? Jerome Powell press conference on Wednesday of this week. Yeah, everything could be exciting. Everything is exciting this week. Now, we got to be honest with you guys. I'm also going to do the 3 link drops as we always do on these shows. At least now that we have them, because I think that they continue to get good stats. Now, I want you guys to know. You don't need to post these more than 10 times a day. Like, we don't want people spamming these to the point that they saturate out and they all get suppressed. I think if we all post them less than 10 times a day, they tend to do pretty well. Does that make sense? I'm talking about how to tell when to sell. So, like, don't think that posting it more than 10 times helps. Like, post it less than 10 times and post it in the right context. So the right context, by the way, is posting it on a status that mentions a token explicitly, because it makes you look like you hold that token. Does that make sense? Do not post it on a thread that is an engagement bait. Do you guys know what an engagement bait is? Don't post it on engagement bait. They're just looking for comp replies there. Does that make sense? They're just looking, yeah, like, don't do it there. Like, legitimately, you're gonna get lost in the noise. The place where you get the most bang for your buck on dropping this link is when you see an influencer actually shilling a token, whether that's Bitcoin or whether it's a fucking meme coin that got invented 90 seconds ago. Post it on a thread or a reply with something that mentions a coin explicitly, any asset, okay? Now, we're going to do that now on demo. Yeah, let me do that now on demo, get it out of the way, and then we can talk about some of the other updates. Make sense, everybody? Everybody agrees? Everybody excited? And thank you to everybody watching us on Twitter and or Kick and or Twitch. And we're going to get back to that marathon concept here a little bit as well. But anyways, do you have the ability to watch my screen? Do you know which one that is? It should be a different scene.
Yeah, what you got on your screen right now?
Oh, Twitter. Yeah, it'll be, yep, perfect. Okay, that'll work. So anyways, guys, we're gonna do the actual job. Oh, look at this. 53 minutes from Murad. But is he dropping a name? Does that make sense? Do you guys see? You guys know I love replying to Murad, but he's not dropping a token. Does that make sense? To figure out which meme coins will outperform, the most important question you need to ask is, how inspired are the holders? If the meme coin is truly inspiring, Dude, this is the fucking craziest shit to be fucking posting on the internet. Anyways, still right here. Don't post on this. Don't post on this. Does that make sense? I love this, Will. Yeah. Wake up, say GM, reply GM, go to bed, wake up. I like this. This is good stuff. This is really applicable, I think, to our culture here in the PYRESWAP Discord. Now, legitimately, we are looking for an actual. There you go, Alessio. There we go. Yeah, well done. Where you go? Literally, there you go. JM Bullion now accepts XRP. You know what? This seems like a great post to say. So when do we sell? Fantastic. Fantastic work. By the way, based on style guides, we will no longer use italics in anything. At least not that, yeah. This is an Elon Musk parody about asking for a meme coin engagement bait. Thank you, no thank you. Okay. This is probably not the one to do. Okay. Not the one to do. Probably not the one to do either. Let me find something. Which meme coin on BTC? Okay, let's. Okay, the amount of conviction I had for SPX 6900 and Gig over 25 hours is insane. Okay, here's one I'm gonna fucking reply to on Murad. The power of belief. You know, that's great. Fantastic. Okay. Okay, and this is Ash Crypto on Bitcoin. Let's see. Oh, this is Mom. 13 hours. Okay. Okay, you know what? This one does not have engagement. Forget about it. Let's see. Okay, Ethereum for 21 hours. Let's see, 384. Fantastic. Fantastic. All right. Okay. Legitimately, and that's done, and that's fucking handled. And we can now, you guys have seen the coin market cap, the fear and greed index. We got 80 and 83 here, and legitimately, we can now look at this Wall Street Journal subscription. So, anyways, first of all, the first thing they talk about here is that Bitcoin's rallying. Oh, you mean like go to the thing? That does make sense, but also like I'm just going to post it in like 3 areas. Yeah. It's not about. We're gonna put ad spend behind these links. Does that make sense? Yeah, like I'm interested in getting data for this. I know that I think you guys are interested in getting results, but like, yeah, if like ad spend will be what drives the results. Does that make sense? And I want you guys to understand something. Without the Discord being tuned for the rest of the funnel, people are gonna join this Discord and then they'll just immediately like fall off. Does that make sense? You effectively have to give them a trail of breadcrumbs all the way to the point of understanding why they should buy. Does that make sense? So that isn't complete anyways. So like I want to be clear, like don't really have like, it's not about maximizing like output of this. It's more like this is not going to get the price to moon until the rest of the Discord becomes that trail of breadcrumbs funnel. Does that make sense? Which is what we're working on next, to be clear. But like, yeah, like this is just about like getting data to see how much Twitter is suppressing us and like what is our ratio of like views to clicks. Do you guys understand? Yeah, I'm trying to do representative sampling as opposed to like having it optimized. Because if I wanted to be optimized, I would just pay for ad spend and I would target certain audiences. Does that make sense to you guys? Yeah, like I'm not too worried about like figuring out like what's rallying or not. Yeah, that's more work than I'm asking anybody to do. Does that make sense? Yeah, like find 3 posts from an influencer where they're mentioning an asset and then reply so when we sell. That is all. Any other additional brain work and like people will be failing it left and right. Does that make sense? So like yeah, as if the instructions get more complicated, the level of effectiveness goes down. So yeah, to be clear, that's just the fact that we continue to see surges whenever Twitter stops suppressing us, people start showing up in Discord. Did you guys notice that? Yeah. So whenever Twitter stops suppressing us, people show up in Discord. That's great. That's proof of concept. But now we have to make sure that the people showing up in Discord know what to do next. Does that make sense? And then we put ad spend behind it. And then we just increase all those numbers. And then, of course, they funnel in to a way where they actually buy the token. Yeah. But like that's not going to happen now. Do you guys get what I'm saying? We're going to put ad spend on it this week just for data. Does that make sense? Like I'm going to throw money at the ad spend right now, and I expect none of the people that join Discord from this to buy. Does that make sense? I know that maybe isn't what you guys want to hear, but like this is how we have data that's correct so we know the numbers at every phase. Does that make sense? Yeah, like if the ad spend shows up before the content, that's fine. We also don't know what our ad spend numbers are until we spend money on ads. Make sense? Right? But anyways, so legitimately, the rest of the stuff, and I mentioned this in the developer meeting on Sunday, so I'm going to talk about it today as well. I want you guys to understand that we really have like 2 funnels, if it will. Does that make sense? So like, how to tell when to sell, this goes to like Discord. Does that make sense? And then legitimately, inside Discord, we will have like the tutorial section. Does that make sense? So the Discord right now, the one that you guys are in here with me, is not configured to receive this traffic. Do you guys understand? This is the, for those of you who don't know, this was Piggy Finance's Discord 2 years ago, right? And all of the tutorials that we would need to post in here, they're not in here. In fact, those videos aren't even made. Then it's from those tutorials that the inbound user goes through, that's what gets them the token. Does that make sense? Because in the tutorial lists, right, like in the, I want you guys to imagine that there's 7 tutorial videos we're going to make. Just imagine there's going to be 7. In those 7 tutorial videos, one of the tutorial videos has them buy the token. Does that make sense? So like they go through the tutorial videos because like after they buy the token, they go do things with it. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Right? So we tutorial how to buy the token, right? It's just part of the process. Without that tutorial being there, like if you don't give somebody clear direction, they just fall off. Does that make sense? Okay. How to tell when to sell through Discord, through tutorials, and this would be through the, this becomes like the purchase. Does that make sense? Now at the same time, what are we going to do? We're going to go on a bunch of YouTube interviews once we have learnPyreswap.com. So let's go to, on this other side here, we're going to do YouTube and Twitter Spaces, arguably. Now, before I do the YouTube and the Twitter Spaces, I'm going to be completely rehearsed to the point of being a master storyteller. Does that make sense? Meaning, instead of me just jumping on an interview and drowning people in technobabble, everything I say will be rehearsed and bundled and packaged for maximum evangelism. Hope I'm making sense to you guys. Okay, am I audible, by the way? Yeah. So once that's done, they go from YouTube directly to a website called learnPyreswap.com. Now to be clear, learnPyreswap.com is not the end-all be-all for learning PyreSwap. That is a website called The Documentation. LearnPyreswap.com is these same videos. Does that make sense? But delivered on a funnel page, delivered on a funnel site, to the point where they're just learning enough to make them curious enough to move to the next phase. Does that make sense? And then through these tutorials, they also end up buying the token. So it is like learnPyReswap.com is not the actual like college website, right? We can do that with PyreInfo. We can do that with the docs. Does that make sense? We can just fill that up with more educational information. But learnPyreswap.com is not like the most, it's not like the peak of technical education. It's more about like learning why the concept we have is valuable, and then like learning more enough about it to be, the goal here is we're building something called an epiphany bridge. And basically what we're trying to do is get them to arrive at their own conclusion that motivates them to do their own research. Does that make sense? Like you can't, you're not there to like you're trying to get them motivated to like blur past your obstacles. And like the more motivated they are to get past them, the better. I hope it makes sense. Now I don't know if it does, but it is what it is. LearnPyreswap.com, this also ends up at a purchase. Just making sense to you guys, okay? Now, in order to do that correctly, effectively speaking, every single one of these tutorial videos has to have a hook and then a story. Does that make sense? And legitimately, it also needs something, this entire website needs something called the Big Domino, right? And do you guys know what our Big Domino is? And I should actually explain what a big domino is because I'm using Russell Brunson's terminology. A big domino, and can you guys see me and hear me?
You're on your page.
What's that?
You're on your computer page.
Okay, fantastic, thank you. Okay. A big domino is like, what is the, yeah. The big domino is about like, what is the one thing that somebody needs to arrive at believing in order to eliminate all other objections and or concerns? Does that make sense? It's like, what is the thing that you can effectively convey that like everything else will fall into place from the impact of it? Does that make sense? So the big domino ends up being like a statement, and it's not like a public-facing statement, but again, while I have such a intimate audience with me here now, I'm going to explain what the big domino is so you guys can understand it. Our big domino is actually fundamental analysis. Does that make sense to you guys? So before, we were not marketing with like a core or like a key like value proposition. We had 25 of them, right? We have 15 features. We've got 10 benefit statements. We've got 7 tangible benefit statements. We've got 7 opportunities, right? What you want to have, and I like that the red, let me see. Let me check. Does that, can you guys read the board right there? Or is that like, does it look like a glare? Does it look like it's like hurting your eyes? The red writing on the board? Or is it like extremely legible? Is my shadow now showing a negative? Man, what a cool lighting. We should make the lighting like this all the time for sure. Anyways, legible, okay.
And
So,
and you throwing your shirt with it?
I know, yeah. We're literally just giving them a fucking epileptic episode on the other end, I'm sure. Yeah, okay. So the big domino is fundamental analysis. So basically, if you think about it like this, the big domino that we're trying to convey with these funnels is that fundamental analysis is the key thing to understand when it comes to making money with crypto. Does that make sense? And there's no better project for fundamental analysis than blank. Does that make sense? So fundamental analysis, this is the key belief. This is the key thing to understand when it comes to analyzing crypto. Does that make sense? A project that you can analyze better, you can invest better. That's pretty obvious. Am I wrong? Do you guys get what I'm saying? Like, would you guys disagree? Right? Like, the fact that it becomes more obvious becomes its value prop, right? So, seeing that it's more obvious, it becomes easier, right? You basically are taking the guesswork out of it, which is meant to give a sense of relief, right? I'm supposed to figure out how to like tie in a feeling to it, but I'll explain that later. And then basically you describe that there's no better project for fundamental analysis than PYRESWAP and the greater PYRESWAP ecosystem. Does that make sense? So legitimately, these videos, it'll be about like the first video on learnPYRESWAP.com. It will be about fundamental analysis, but not necessarily like a direct. This video has to like start talking about fundamental analysis, but in a different way than how to tell when to sell does. I better just fucking show you instead of telling you. Okay, anyways, that's enough for an update right now. We're just working on the content and learnPYRESWAP.com, which now has DNS records propagated. Generally speaking, it still needs to have an 8-year-old's reading level, right? So all the words I have to use are 8-year-old level. If I'm going to talk about something like fundamental analysis, I have to use things called kinda like bridges. So the way that I'm describing fundamental analysis on a kinda like bridge, I realize that I'm not even explaining to you guys what a kinda like bridge is. But ChatGPT thinks that I need to compare it to the way that you analyze a pre-owned car. Does that make sense? Let me ask you guys specifically here today. Has anybody here never been involved in the purchase or sale of a pre-owned automotive? Has anybody here never experienced that in their life? Yeah, I feel like I'm not even being a clear speaker today, which is I'm not really telling a story either. I'm kind of just like going from these bullet points. Okay, no responses. So I'm assuming every single person has experienced the purchase and or sale of a pre-owned automotive, right? Yeah, okay. Me too. Right? So, yeah, more or less, right? So, the fact of the matter is, in order to convey the idea of fundamental analysis, I've only had second ones. Yeah, sure. Bought high, sold low. Okay. Well done, electronic. But the point being here is that in order to describe fundamental analysis, at least right now, because I'm kind of giving you a preview of the content that's going to be on video, we use a comparison to buying or selling a pre-owned automotive, meaning like with technical analysis, it would be like you're just buying it for how it looks on the surface, right? You're buying it for like the color, but fundamental analysis is like looking under the hood, right? Or I guess the bonnet or whatever. How do you guys say in Europe? I don't know, but I've been reading a lot this morning. Let's put it that way. I've been reading a lot, and I don't know if I'm conveying what I'm trying to say to you guys, but I'm just trying to just trying to be as clear as possible about what I'm thinking about and working on today. Okay. I don't disagree. I had a Toyota for a while, and if it hadn't gotten totaled, I think it would have lasted forever. But, okay, so I already said Jerome Powell has a press conference today, right? Okay, did you guys know that credit unions are tax exempt in the United States? Okay, so credit unions are tax exempt. So one of the reasons that we will continue to beat the drum of PYRESWAP and the GPSC being a decentralized credit union is to help everybody. Does that make sense? Yeah, because like it's not really a for-profit institution. It's more about like freeing up capital to extend loans to its members, right? And since it's decentralized, everybody is trying to effectively make profit by borrowing and or lending. You guys get what I'm saying? So, and actually, Mr. Producer, if you could give me screen share again on what I have on this computer. So this is an opinion piece from Wall Street Journal. And I don't know how this works in the EU or any other country, but this right here is pretty recent. They are not-for-profit financial cooperatives that exist to serve their members, not external shareholders. Yeah, there aren't really external shareholders in like this investment. Like literally even being a speculator is in fact like being a member. Does that make sense? So In the United States, there is Northwest Federal Credit Unions owning a stadium naming rights of the NFL's Washington Commanders. It says misses the mark on credit unions' tax-exempt status, but whatever. Credit unions are this, da-da-da-da. This ensures that earnings are returned to members through lower loan rates, higher savings yields, and reduced fees. Make sense? Unlike banks, credit unions are democratically governed and focused on community growth rather than maximizing profit. Now, granted, that means like institutional profit. If you think about it here, like higher savings yields becomes the profit that the members get, talking about you guys, right? But like that isn't necessarily meant to be any type of yield that we, the owner-operators, or should I say the warranters, have asymmetrically. Does that make sense to you guys? Okay, so credit unions are a powerful tool for local economic growth. And I guess here for local economic growth, we mean on-chain economic growth. Yeah, supporting small businesses and families through financial challenges. That applies a lot to some of the countries that are in our user base that are hyperinflated, of course. Then here's another thing about the sponsorship of stadiums, but again, it's like you got to advertise somehow, right? Anyways, we should applaud credit union efforts to engage in ways that bolster their visibility, whether through sponsorships or other community-driven initiatives. Anyways, yeah, so that's just talking about sponsoring a stadium. Now, the next thing I want to talk about here is these 5 Wall Street Titans thought Bitcoin is a fad. Here's what they said then and now. Okay, let me see. Did my Discord drop? Okay. Can you guys hear and see me? This I thought was an interesting article. Just real quick, drilling through this. Jamie Dimon, Warren Buffett, Ken Griffin, why can I not remember? Oh, Larry Fink and Ray Dalio, right? And Ray Dalio's books I have like right here. Anyways, as you guys already knew, Jamie Dimon is a useless pet rock. And even though, of course, JP Morgan uses blockchain, right? Even while the bank became a pioneer in adopting Bitcoin blockchain technology and agreed to facilitate some of the ETFs that hold Bitcoin, he is still believing it's a useless pet rock. And but I don't want to tell anyone of you what to do. It's a free country. This is now, that was a 2024 World Economic Forum statement from Jamie Dimon. Larry Fink, of course, is that now he's a major believer in the role of Bitcoin because why? Why, guys? Why? Because BlackRock, who Larry Fink is the CEO of, are the people running the iShares ETF for Bitcoin, right? Are you guys aware of this? Do you guys know who Larry Fink is? The devil. Well, who knows? I guess we'll find out. Yeah, he owns Ukraine now. Well, I can't speak to that. Here's Ken Griffin. By the way, you guys ever heard of Citadel? Anyways, yeah, so Citadel, who ended up being the... Citadel were the villains in the GameStop saga, right? Ken Griffin says, and again, 2024, we all have FOMO. It's just universal. It's part of human psychology. What I don't care for about crypto is what problem does it solve for our economy. I don't even hate this sentiment because until I figure out how to be a storyteller, I don't have the ability to answer these guys' questions. Isn't that crazy? What's stopping me from being able to answer these questions is becoming a storyteller so I can market people into the idea of a decentralized credit union, and it isn't just me fire hosing technobabble down their throats. Yeah, isn't that crazy? Yeah, like I can answer these questions in depth to the point of technobabble. But yeah, Warren Buffett, I've seen people do stupid things all my life. People like to play the lottery. They're appealing to the gambling instinct. Well, you know, right now in the world of meme coins, I can't disagree here. And arguably, I want you guys to know, as you guys have heard me say before, we have this argument to say about the value of fundamental analysis, right? All of these guys are like FA traders. Does that make sense? I don't know who fucking Jamie Dimon is, but Ken Griffin, Warren Buffett, Larry Fink, they're all fundamental analysis guys. They're value investors. So like, it doesn't, let's put it this way. Bitcoin doesn't need them to be bullish on it in the sense that they don't need to be bullish on it either because like they were already worth 100 billion before Bitcoin existed, right? So it's like, well, yeah, you know, I imagine that people asking them about it is like, what do you think about this? And it's like, you know, I would imagine he would bring it up if he was thinking about it at all. But it really just speaks to the amount of wealth there is in the world. You don't have to think about Bitcoin at all to capture it, right? And then Ray Dalio, by the way, he originally dismissed Bitcoin as a speculative bubble in 2017, but now he's become more bullish over the years. And then he said in 2021, he called Bitcoin one hell of an invention and an alternative gold-like asset. So then, yeah, there you go. I want to steer away from debt assets like bond and debt and have some hard money like gold and Bitcoin. I think it's great that he's calling it hard money as well. And that was within the month. That was literally apparently within the last 30 days. So those are these 5 giant investors that are all extremely long in the tooth. And this is their opinions on Bitcoin. That was a great little article to effectively collect this. Yeah. Yeah, I believe that. Yeah, I believe that. I am not surprised that they would enter through Curve. Yep. Curve, and I believe I'm talking about Michael Egoroff. Michael Egoroff. Curve, I think Egoroff is a way better DEX designer or DEX manager than, in my opinion, I was going to drop a name, but, you know, let's be polarizing. Yeah, I agree. Okay, I don't know if you guys know this, but do you guys know that Curve Finance talks shit to Uniswap? Do you guys know about this? Does anybody besides me know that Curve and Uniswap talk shit to each other? Okay, now you know, right? And this is a story. Now we're telling a story. Okay, so, yeah. Good morning, Facundo on Twitter. Yeah, so if you go and you look at Uniswap announcements in the last year or so, Uniswap has made some very interesting business model decisions. Does that make sense? And Curve is literally in the replies telling them they're fucking dumbasses. Does that make sense? You guys can look this up. I'm not going to link it to you, but if you want to look it up, you can go look at some of the stuff Uniswap announces, and then Curve is literally like telling them they're fucking dumbasses. I'm just giving you a synopsis, and I'm going to assume that it's like maybe this is between Hayden Adams and Michael Egoroff. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know, but generally speaking, with some of the criticisms that I agree with Curve more so than like some of the things that Uniswap is doing lately, like because I think Curve is actually when you hear Michael Egoroff tweet, he sounds like a real banker. Does that make sense? And when you hear Hayden Adams tweet, he doesn't sound like that at all. So generally speaking, like Curve and its design and like what it knows what its job is, it's like it's a superior bank. At the same time, Curve is mostly built up from a whole bunch of what would you even describe this? Curve's TVL is built up of extraterritorialized fiat. Do you guys understand what I'm saying here? So Curve, even though it is it has great DeFi potential, it exists kind of at the behest of projects like Tether and Circle. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? Because Tether and Circle make up the majority of its TVL. And even DAI, even Maker DAO, I don't even know what's going on over there. I think did they change their name or something? I'm not even going to look into that. I'm just going to focus on PYRESWAP. Does that make sense? I'm just going to be like head down, building learnpyreswap.com so that we have a complete marketing funnel, and then I'm going to go on tour as a master storyteller, and then we're gonna go to PEG, okay? That's the plan. We're close now, okay? Yeah, I think that 2025 is going to be explosive for us, and maybe even before then we'll start seeing some action. Okay. Yeah, but legitimately, I want you guys to know the epiphany. By the way, this really is the selling of the epiphany idea. The idea that epiphany is what's needed to change someone's behavior rings true with me because we literally built a click-through page And what we figured out, by the way, because this is something that I had given up on before, I had no idea how to convert Twitter eyeballs into actual interest into PYRESWAP, because it could not actually happen on Twitter. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? Because all the Twitter ads, they become this like noise, and like people think that like, oh hey, this is what's winning because I see that a lot, but also that's what's most commonplace. Does that make sense? So in the marketing meta, what ends up being like a dominating strategy, it ends up saturating. So when you're marketing a meme coin, you can market the whole project in a fucking tweet. Does that make sense? Like literally the whole project is a meme, right? So you can just post a meme, mention the supply cap or whatever, or like who fuck, what else, whatever else, and that's enough, right? But when you talk, and then of course you can always say 100x potential, which is what we say too, right? But like, if you're gonna name your if you name your token Pyre Phantom, or even name your token 2Ohm, it's a little bit different because that's not a meme coin name, right? So you end up with this kind of like sensory incongruence with what people's expectations are and that type of advertising. So the point being is that there's a way to turn Twitter eyeballs into Pyre Phantom buyers, but it's just not going to be the same approach that that a meme coin does, right? Because it's like, yeah. The good news is, by the way, though, from the yeah. Yes, Alessio, that's correct. Yes, that is also correct. Like literally not the same type of Twitter content. I agree with that. But as you've seen as well, Alessio, we haven't spent a single dollar on Twitter advertising yet. And by the way, thank you so much on Kick for that comment on our background here. Yeah, it's from what I understand, it's not a real skull. It is a it's got like roses, like it's got like a flower texture on it as well. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think you guys normally see this wide view of the set. Is that right? Like you guys normally see it more zoomed in. We changed cameras. We upgraded our cameras, so now more of the set is visible. Anyways, okay. So no, it's fine. It's fine. Show them the skull. I mean, we don't put it there for no reason. We're clearly getting compliments on it. So we couldn't have gotten this complimented before had we been more zoomed in. It's not. Like this is fine. It's a better camera, and arguably it gets more of the lights in it, right? So anyways, okay. So yeah. But yeah, Alessio, that's still like that content, when you market it with a tweet, it's like that content is like one and done. Does that make sense? Like if you don't get eyeballs on that Twitter thread, it's now dead. It never gets revisited again. Does that make sense? Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm not trying to sponsor those tweets. Yeah, like those tweets. Alessio, okay. Our PYRESWAP ambassador program has us writing the Twitter threads, and then we distribute it to our ambassadors who rewrite it in their own words. Does that make sense? So we legitimately cook our own long-form Twitter content and then give it to our ambassadors to rewrite. Yeah, and we do that, I guess, once a week here eventually, right? But like again, that is content that only gets used once on Twitter and then it never gets seen again, right? You only have that moment. When you use a click-through page, you can reuse that content again and again and again and again and again. Yeah. Exactly. And anyways, okay. So let's see. Do you guys have any other questions? I mean, Jerome Powell is gonna do a conference this week, but other than that, I'm just gonna get back to work on like building the fucking funnel stuff. Do you guys understand the concept of the two funnels? The learnpyreswap.com is to be congruent to the content they're already seeing. So it's like if they discovered this product on YouTube, we continue to give them YouTube videos to go through, right? If they discovered it on a Twitter space, we continue to give them audio visual content to go through. Does that make sense? Like you're always gonna have a bit of a friction when you have someone switch platforms. But obviously, if you see the numbers in this Discord keep going up, at least net, people are at least clicking through. Because I don't know about you guys, but since we've had this how to tell when to sell page, you now actually see surges of people join Discord. Do you guys know what I mean? Like it's like a visible difference that like, oh hey, when we first had this page, the first time we had 13 people join Discord in like 24 hours. That was with no YouTube appearance, no Twitter space, like no extra content or anything like that. It was just how to tell when to sell. 13 people showed up. And then we have what, another 6 or whatever, right? Doesn't seem like a lot, right? Only 19. But again, Twitter's suppressing us. So it's like when we actually have ad spend behind this, meaning Twitter stops suppressing us, those 13 people that will join, does that make sense? Those 13 people that join the Discord, 1 or 2 of them will end up buying the token. 1 or 2 of them will end up understanding more about the project and believing in fundamental analysis. Oh, well, Alessio, okay. Alessio, I was going to do that by adding this Twitter account onto the seats. So that is something that I can do. But also, I have good news for you, Alessio. Once I'm done building learnPyreswap.com, all I'm doing is becoming a fucking content bomb. Does that make sense? All I do for that point on is just content. Yeah. So literally, whether it's doing literally like phone in hand stuff directly to Twitter. Does that make sense? Yeah. I'm just gonna go get a pickup truck and then go get wraparound sunglasses and go sit in the front of the pickup truck and just go on these rants right on Twitter. And yeah, but legitimately, yeah, all I'm doing is content. Like, especially once we have, I guess you could say, like, our stories rehearsed. Does that make sense? Yeah. My producer says that I need to do my beard like Riff Raff. Do you guys know who Riff Raff is? So I'm gonna get my beard lined up like Riff Raff, and I'm probably going to probably get a tattoo on my face of the flame, the little flame, the pixelated flame. I'm gonna make it look like a teardrop, and yeah. Electronic. I looked at that and it blocked me. Yeah, it says Sora is like log jammed right now. But yes, I would love to use Sora for the short form and a bunch of other stuff. And we were working on short form yesterday as well. Yes, Alessio, but that's okay because first of all, let's put it this way. If you think about the fact, Alessio, that we're in like the world of meme coins, does that make sense? Oh yeah, by the way, Alessio, we're going to have learnPyreswap.com built. So like anybody who even has like not the complete idea yet, they will just go to learnPyreswap.com. Does that make sense? Now, secondly, Alessio, we stream on Kick, and there's a guy complimenting me on the skull, right? I have no idea if he's confused or maybe he just likes the fucking skull. Does that make sense? And then something else I learned is that don't try to define value for people. Let them decide what the value is. Does that make sense? So some people, they like Market Mondays because we actually talk about Jerome Powell and stuff. Other people might just like it because it's been since Thursday since we talked about what we're doing for the project, right? So maybe some people are here for the fucking Riff Raff mentions. Some people are here for marketing updates. Some people here are for actual, macro analysis, right? And tapping into this amazing Wall Street Journal subscription, right? So legitimately, it's about broadening the value. And then also, Alessio, if we talk about fundamental analysis being like our core thing now, it would make more sense that we are broadening the idea of fundamental analysis to more things. Because like let's put it this way, Alessio, I'm not trying to stop doing this show when we get to PEG. Does that make sense? So like I think like right now, while you guys are all hinging for like the user base to start growing at a rate where the price starts really taking off, you guys know where it stops, right? You guys know where like the price almost probabilistically has to reverse, right? Not even at 0.8. I'm talking about like 1.2 TWAP, right? Like thinking it's going to go above 1.2 is crazy, right? Metatrage or Prince will just bring it back down, right? But the fact of the matter is that like even on those days when let's say 2 ohm is crashing from 1.2 to 0.8 in a single day, we're still doing the PyreSwap show, at least in essence. Now I might be I might do it less times a week, and then I would still probably stream 3 to 4 times a week, and then make PYRESWAP show maybe only once a week. But like, it's still going to be this show. It'll probably be, I don't know. Let's not even worry about that yet. Let's get the user base problem solved, right? But I appreciate that. I appreciate Electronic. How did you get a Sora login? How did you get one? Were you one of the first ones, Electronic? Yeah, did it work for you? Because I literally tried this like yesterday. I'm like, nope, not today. Oh, that's amazing. Okay, that's what it must take. Anyways, like, when phase 2? Okay, great question, Rolf. Phase 2 will be after we launch the remaining forks. So we're gonna see prints before we launch those forks. So like, I would say if you want like 3 ideas of when phase 2, you're gonna see 2 ohm print, right? We now have the total supply for it. 2 ohm will print. Once we have, okay, I should explain this to you guys as well. We don't need that much activity to actually make this all kind of auto-catalyzed. Do you know what we need? We need between 2 to 4 people a day learning about it and buying it for the first time. Does that make sense? If the user base is just growing by like 2 people entering a day, which is like, if you average it to 3, it would be like 20 people a week are buying this token for the first time. It will just run away. Does that make sense? We have the velvet row pattern and all the tokenomics will support it. The thing is, we still want people learning about it on the way up. We don't just want a user base for right now. We want a user base. We want the user base to be growing as the price is going as well. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Which, by the way, that can also that's very common in crypto. But so again, at least get 1 boardroom printing on each chain. So that will be Dibs printing. I mean, we could say that at least Xeon will print, but why not aim bigger than that? Because once you have the user base growing consistently, like, they will all print. That will be the real proof of concept, especially if that happens without interference from Genesis, which is kind of like how it is now. But the point being is that after this concept is proven, and also that we see the vibratile range like actually do its job. Do you guys know what I mean by vibratile range? If the vibratile range is also doing its job, then it'll be like, okay, then we're gonna launch Ribs. Does that make sense? And Ribs will be effectively a modified tomb fork, which we will call a Senurid share primitive. And then we're gonna launch Ribs. Ribs will have its own Genesis event, probably like a 90-day Genesis. I don't really even care, but it'll emit Ribs, right, over time. No, probably not an airdrop. Yeah. I'm not really into airdrops. I think it's just bad. Yeah, I'll do a Genesis to actually, so that Genesis will create transaction volume. Does that make sense? Which again, we're a DEX. Do you guys get what I'm saying? We're a DEX, so we can benefit from the transaction volume. Airdrops, yeah, 1 day of volume and then it's over. Fantastic, guys. 1 day of volume, yeah. Hey guys, everybody sold at the same time. Great. Okay, now we're gonna climb back up. That's terrible. Yeah, I would rather just do like a 90-day Genesis. Yeah. It won't be like in August. Yeah, it won't be like August. We'll do it differently. Oh my God, Alessio, it's just so much easier to just do a Genesis. Yeah, like it does not need to be this crazy. You just do a Genesis to deploy some initial LP and then you forget about it, right? Yeah. Yeah. Like airdrops in general. And then Alessio, no, Rolf, yeah. By the way, the point of PYRESWAP's Genesis was to grow the user base. And like at a certain point, like Genesis was not in fashion. So like at a certain point, it's like we tapered it down so where you still get APR, right? If you think that like 20% APR is low, maybe you're not thinking about the coin going 100x, right? Like you can always just make it be 2,000 APR if you think about it long term, right? But like, no, the Genesis is just a thing that goes. Yeah, right? So then once the Genesis is happening and we can maybe assume that like Ribs is growing a user base and we can even maybe get marketing going for Ribs to the point that Ribs user base is growing, then we could launch Affogato. Affogato will probably also have a Genesis. Maybe like these will not be as incredibly hyper emissive as we were in August. Does that make sense? We don't need to go that fucking crazy, but it'll be about like putting farms on the DEX so that LP gets deepened, or at least just established. Alessio, I think that, yeah. No. How about that? No. Yeah. It's okay. It's not your job to track that. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I can think of, Alessio, we doubled the user base from the Genesis for sure, but like not to the point of getting past the point of auto catalyzing. Yeah, but Alessio, it's okay. I'm used to you being pessimistic. It's fine. Anyways, yeah. So legitimately, then, will beta end with Genesis for what? PYRESWAP? No. Literally, I would say that when we enter phase 2, we're gonna be beta testing the phase 2 stuff. Yeah. Yeah, so it'll be like the stuff right now, like Metatrage and the IWV will no longer be in beta, but then we'll have stuff into phase 2 that will then be in beta. Yeah. Yep. I guess so, Abolito, yeah. Yeah. I don't know what the time is. I don't really think about Genesis anymore. I would like to get the LP leaderboard. Rolf, we'll be in beta probably for years. Yeah, we will be in beta for years. If we're not in beta, people think they missed the boat. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think that beta is bad. Yeah, not in Web3. Yeah, people want to get into beta. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, beta is not like, it's meant to be a warning, but really everybody in Web3 is a FOMO investor. So it's like, are they waiting for beta to end? Yeah. And the warning banners, we can make the warning banners like maybe less, we can redesign them. Yeah, we can, the part about the mead tax can get like less of a warning. Yeah, like they can become like an information. So Rolf, a book that I read recently was like How to Write Instructions, and it talks about a tiered system for like the way you convey information. And basically they had this system where it's like information, and then you have like caution, and then you have warning, and then you have danger. Does that make sense? ICWD. So we don't necessarily need to make them at the danger level. Does that make sense to you guys? We can de-escalate them to a warning or a caution label. Does that make sense to you guys? Do you guys get what I'm saying here? You just make them less, less alarming. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. And then also, a lot of the stuff, even with the NFB pop-up, like the NFB pop-up can probably get like changed a bit. Yeah. But yeah, legitimately, yeah, no, I'm that's legitimately, Rolf, that's also why I put them up there. Like, hey, like for real, please read the instructions. Nobody did, but like I at least didn't want to be, I was, you know, I guess it was my own paranoia or my own fear. Like I didn't want people to just literally dogpile into something and then get smoldered to death. Some of them still did, so I guess it doesn't matter. But anyways, yeah, so legitimately you can put a warning on there and then people will learn, you know, because I guess people like doing that in crypto anyways. Now that we're in a season where like it's all meme coins, it is pretty ridiculous to put a warning label on anything, right? Like legitimately, like, anyways, yeah, because, you know, out of 500 tomb forks, right, and all the, 500 tomb forks were launched and like maybe 1/3 were rugs and then every other one failed. That's really not shit compared to meme coins, right? You got 500 meme coins launching every day, and like they're not making it, you know? Like maybe 1 out of 1,000 seems to last longer than a week, right? So like I think that the level of danger, like the appetite for danger has definitely gone up. So I agree that we could change the way we're presented. And I would say that might be something that I touch on before I go on that YouTube gauntlet. So learn PYRESWAP.com. This is like the job right now. Does that make sense? Yeah. Make it just like, yeah, less friction. Yes, less barriers and more encouragement, less discouragement, right? More encouragement, less discouragement. And that is by the way what the books told me to do. So if you remember my my subhuman tapeworm document from before, like that was definitely the wrong move. But anyways, lessons learned. Okay, so we're here about an hour into this. Yes, okay. So the Genesis events, like, they're for people to like get token emissions, and then they stop, right? But I want you guys to understand something, and I want you guys to understand the power of epiphany. If you can literally do a video or any type of content, any type of engagement from a user, where you give them like hook, story, and then like epiphany. Does that make sense? And then in that epiphany, like they figure out what they need to do next. We can absolutely build this for LP leaderboards as well. Does that make sense? Anything you want to do when it comes to changing human behavior, you tell them a story that gives them an epiphany. This is the #1 way to get people to change their current behavior. This is what I've learned in the last few weeks. So like the power behind this is immense, and all that needs to be done is there needs to be enough of an argument around the big domino, which you guys remember to be what? What's the big domino again? I might have not had my complete personality on stream earlier today. The big domino is fundamental analysis. So the point being here is Learn PYRESWAP will be all about driving the fucking belief in how powerful fundamental analysis is. By the way, guys, Ray Dalio, Warren Buffett, and fucking Larry Fink, and I guess Ken Griffin too, they are all fundamental analysis investors. So like those guys are like the pantheon of Wall Street, and they're all fundamental investors. By the way, I recently got a book. Can I show you guys the book? I'm gonna walk off screen for a second. Okay, can I get the, you know, don't even stand by, I'm just gonna get the book. Yeah, hang on. I'll get the book, hang on. I wanna walk over and get it. My blacked out. Fantastic. Okay. Well, thank you guys so much. Okay. This is called The Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham. Now, for those of you who don't know, Benjamin Graham was Warren Buffett's mentor, right? So Benjamin Graham is like the Zeus of fucking investing, right? So legitimately, Warren Buffett has the preface, and he says, by far the best book about investing ever written. And then also it says the definitive book on value investing. So this book right here is the definitive book on FA. Does that make sense? On FA, this is the definitive book. It's a meager, I don't know, 500, 600 pages. I don't even know how many pages. Yeah, about 600 pages. It's a meager 600 pages, but like all FA is like, this is the Bible of FA. Let's put it that way. So we at least now have the Bible of FA, which I could probably just, I don't know, what do you think? Like up here? I don't know. Anyways, I'm going to read, okay, I will read it. I will start reading it probably when I'm on tour. I need to finish reading books on how to be a master storyteller first. So if you can understand why getting the storyteller books read first is a higher priority, because that will help me really knock out those YouTube interviews and Twitter spaces. Does that make sense? Yes. Yes. Okay, guys. All right. So I'm gonna end the I'm gonna end the PYRESWAP show now, so I can sprint back into reading these books. But yes, we're building the solution to everybody's problems, and we are going to make it. And by the way, this is an unkillable project. If we've demonstrated anything, it is the unkillability of this project. By the way, yeah. So, anyways, thank you guys for coming to the PYRESWAP show. We're about an hour here, and you can take us out, Mr. Producer. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. Should I have finger guns until you dismiss it? What do you want me to do? Yeah, do you know how to turn it off? Stop streaming. That's the button.